Welcome back, runners. You know, in my head, I said, welcome back, Guardians. Ooh, no. We have some new information from the China preview events. These are allowed to be talked about. You know, these have been like released. This is from their event. We're going to go through the Reddit post, which does summarize big interviews with the game director, Joe Ziegler. So there's basically 3 articles here summarized in the Reddit post. I'm going to go through the Reddit post here, and then if you want to watch me read through the entirety of these articles, I will leave a link to the VOD down below. I have done it on YouTube this time. You can watch the YouTube VOD without ads, and if you want to just listen to the entirety of the article, that's where the VOD is. Okay, let's go through the summary. So this is on the Marathon Reddit subreddit. Another outlet's impression from the China event. Event was in Shanghai in early Feb. First Bungie event outside of NA. Demo was fully localized, featuring polished and natural Chinese text and VA. Marathon may become one of the first Sony Interactive Entertainment. I think that's right. We already talked about this. First Sony game, first Sony first party game with full Chinese VA. I think this is really interesting because of how many Chinese developers we've seen recently. It's both in the extraction shooter genre. We've seen multiple games come out now from Chinese developers that are basically better Tarkovs that run better, and are even on mobile. And we've seen a lot of, I don't want to say Elden Ring games, what do you call them? Action RPGs that are very slick from Chinese developers too. So obviously what I'm probably seeing here is like Chinese development is a threat to the games we're making. We better make sure we actually have a seat at the table, and we actually are including this market when we're looking at our games. So interesting. Reviewers' personal impressions are that the game does not encourage prolonged fights for both PvE and PvP. Yeah, good one. Welcome to extraction shooters, where both the enemy AI and players will third party you. It is a top complaint of the genre is you're doing something and someone shoots you in your back. You pretty much want to finish fights very quickly, get your loot, and reposition. Gunplay is top notch and compares the aim assist to Destiny 2, with each gun having defined aim assist values. Okay, that's expected. PvP gunfire will attract distant AI, transforming them into the world police to eliminate both sides in one sweep. This is also a pretty common feature in extraction shooters. Often when I'm playing Arc Raiders, you have to consider the enemies around you, and if you start firing, the enemy will come to you. Like shredders are a good example in Stella Montes, and then all of a sudden you're now fighting like shredders and the enemy. This makes it sound like a distant AI, like they'll come to investigate. So I guess prepared to be third-partied by both players and PvE, which probably explains this, which is you don't want prolonged fights because this AI is going to come and slap you around. PvE robots are not cannon fodder. They have defined roles, with some turning invisible for ambushes, some deploying shields, and some focusing on melee. Yep, we kind of knew this. They've got, you know, different roles. Boss robots function as tactical hubs, giving real-time orders and coordinating flanks against players, or sending mobs to camp down players. Well, we have not seen this before. Interesting. Boss robots. Okay. AI has improved since the alpha. They are not omniscient radios anymore that responds instantly to every sound, and reinforcements are no longer endless waves. Hold on. AI has improved since the alpha. They are not omniscient radios anymore. They respond instantly to every sound, and reinforcements are no longer endless waves. The pressure remains formidable, but players have breathing room. Okay, this is kind of opposite of what the last review said. The last review said that you won't be able to wipe the map, and they'll keep having reinforcements. And this kind of says the opposite. The reinforcements are no longer endless. Have to wait and see. Ammo was extremely scarce, and the AI robots rarely dropped ammo, and the supply crate yielded very little, leading to early extractions after just 1 to 2 engagements. Okay, so we actually did get more information from Chris when we did the translation on this, and I didn't quite make it into the last video. But when the video footage came up, he was saying that when you engage with AI, you often are not going to recoup your resources. So there's an image on one of the videos where it has like depleted health pack. So it's not like a full health pack that has like 100 points of health revive on it. It's like 50 or 30 or something. So when you take damage, when you use bullets, you're not going to like recoup those costs from taking on AI. They are going to drain your resources. This is very similar to like Escape from Tarkov, where you have like health packs with hit points on them, you know, and like you use them as much as you can, but eventually they like degrade and you don't get great gear from enemies. It's also kind of busted up a bit. So this is why and actually Chris also spoke about the scarcity with like loot crates, saying that there's not a lot, and that's why they had these memes with people fighting over the loot, because there wasn't a huge amount. So the economy is going to feel pretty rough, I think, and probably closer to the extraction shooters that are a little bit more extreme than something like Arc Raiders. Loot distribution felt extremely inconsistent. Yeah, right. With some points of interest having virtually nothing to loot, which sucked as the PvE fights already depleted ammo and meds. Yeah, interesting. I mean, this this gives me flashbacks of playing like DayZ, where you're just walking around like, I just want to find one bit of ammo, please. Yeah, I think they want to encourage that scarcity, and maybe you're going to be... I think one of the cool things sometimes with extraction shooters when they're like this is having to make decisions on when you pick fights. I think that I do actually like that gameplay loop in extraction shooters. Like, I don't have the resources right now to pick this fight. I want to extract. Or like, I've got enough magazines to take on one group and be opportunistic. Or like, their back's turned, they might have the gear that we need. Let's take them on. But that line is very fine. So we'll see how they go with that. The visual art style makes certain weapon attachments icons extremely abstract, making it hard to quickly identify them in high pressure situations. This can waste precious seconds or even get your loot stolen. Weapon attachment icons extremely abstract, right? So they're talking about the weapon attachments because they're like, yeah, they're icons, and so maybe they're a bit hard to identify. I think this is a big. I think this is the big part of extraction shooters in general, is learning how to loot quickly. So I would be probably a bit careful with this feedback, because like every extraction shooter is difficult at first because you're trying to make decisions under high pressure. You've just like killed someone, you're looting them. You're like, what do I grab? What do I grab? What do I grab? But I also see what they're saying here. And that is like, the icons in Marathon are very abstract, a little bit different than, you know, a red dot, a holograph, something that's very easy to like identify. Yeah. The reviewer was a hoarder type of player, so he was just looting in the shadows solo and wondered why even fight. It's a valid strategy. It is probably going to be the most profitable strategy. I have not played a game yet where fighting is more profitable in extraction shooters. Personal impressions of the reviewers shifted from mild indifference to genuine anticipation. Okay, that's good. I think that represents most people. Interview with Joe Ziegler confirmed that each season is 3 months, 12 weeks long. Bungie's back on the live service train with Marathon. Each season, players will start with limited resources and must gradually grow stronger through various means, forging their own unique path to grow. To implement this concept, each season will incorporate new content systems. Guys, this is like Destiny, right? Like an artifact system. Substantially reshaping the season and gameplay. That said, some content will be retained at the player account level. For example, cosmetic items required through unlocking or purchasing will continue to be retained across this seasons. Development dreams and even player expectations, PvE only modes will be saved for the future. Oh, we got to look into that a bit more. Okay. I'll add some more information here if they talk about it in the articles. Okay, Marlon from the future here. The way that was worded, I think there was something lost in translation because it makes it seem like they're considering PvE in the future. But what I think they meant was that there are zero plans for PvE only in the future. I'll read you the part from Joe's interview. The question is, how does the development team balance looting gameplay, PvE and PvP content? Will players who dislike PvP and prefer a PvE experience be able to enjoy the game as well? We're definitely not making a game that's just about PvE. From a PvE perspective, we've certainly created many attractive elements, such as challenging enemies and environmental threats. But the core of Marathon is creating tension and a storyline in an environment where resources and rewards are scarce, and players will fiercely compete for those resources and rewards. In other words, PvP is unavoidable in those situations, or in many situations. At the same time, we've also provided non-violent interaction tools for players who prefer peace. For example, a close-range voice chat function, and even the ability to hand items to down enemies to revive them. These are all optional interaction methods. We look forward to seeing players develop their own stories in this environment without clear right or wrong, and the outcome of the game will depend entirely on the interactions and choices between players in the same match. Feels very clear that there is no plan for any PvE only option mode. No safe pocket system at launch. May consider it in the future sessions based on player feedback. Oh, I mean, this is a whole discussion about the safe pocket system. I don't know where I sit. I need to think about the safe pocket a little bit more. I've played games with and without the safe pockets. They definitely make the game more forgiving because you can put high loot value in your safe pocket. The downside of the safe pocket, I'll give you a really good example from Escape from Arc Raiders, is in Arc Raiders, one of the main grinds is blueprints. They have a really low drop chance, like, I don't know, 1 to 5% or something. And if you find them, they're obviously very valuable because they allow you to craft stuff forever unless you wipe your account. So you could find a very valuable blueprint that lets you craft one of the best guns in the game. And once you've got it and you put it in your safe pocket, which means it doesn't matter if you die, you get out and you can now craft that as long as you never wipe your account with the voluntary wipe system. It's now yours forever. What this does encourage, though, is essentially no gear runs where you will enter a match with literally no weapon, no gear, nothing, and you run to all the high loot areas and you farm blueprints. And once you got a blueprint, you put it straight in your safe pocket and it doesn't matter. Safe pockets definitely influence that kind of gameplay. And sometimes it can be profitable to do that kind of gameplay as well. So it definitely looks like they're pushing people to always come in geared. There's also a geared matchmaking system when it comes to ranked. There's also a lot of pros for safe pockets too. I think it makes the game a lot more approachable and a lot less harsh when you lose all your stuff and you at least keep something. Or, and I actually think this is what Marathon's use for safe pockets would be. If you're trying to like farm a certain core or an implant to make a build, that's when a safe pocket would be really, really handy. It's like, oh, great. I finally found the core that I'm looking for to go on my destroyer. I'm going to put that in my safe pocket. No aggression-based matchmaking like Arc Raiders. Okay, there you go. Large maps will support up to 18 players, 6 squads, and small maps will support 12 to 4 squads. Okay, so we know how many players. Okay, after reading the summary on Reddit and the 3 game articles, one which includes the interview with Joe, my kind of top points about Marathon is it seems like the enemy AI has been really cranked up. It seems like they really are making it a survival game in that you're going to have low resources. You go to take on enemies, you get into PvP fights, you get into PvE fights, you're going to be low on resources, you're going to lose health, you're going to lose bullets. And that scarcity is going to go 2 ways. It's either going to encourage you to use proximity chat, especially probably if you're a solo player, and be like, yo, do you want to team up? And this does happen in extraction shooters, and it's probably my favorite thing to happen is you speak into the comms, another guy goes, yeah, I've got no bullets either. I'm happy to walk away from this encounter and not fight anymore. And it actually makes me really happy because I feel like it is actually possible now in Marathon with how scarce things are. the other way it can go is, nah, actually, I've got a full magazine and full health. I'm going to take whatever you've looted. And that's kind of the area that I love in extraction shooters, is it can go either way. But the scarcity in loot and resources feels like a very common theme coming through. I think the discussion around not having a safe pocket is probably its own video. I think that adds to the intensity. I've got lots of thoughts on safe pockets and pros and cons, and that can be its own video, but I'll cover that another time. The other thing that I think is really prominent in the interviews is they have a very strong vision of PvE and PvP, in that PvP is essential to this. It is not toxic to shoot other players. This is survival. It's within the law. The law of Arc Raiders is it's humanity versus Arc. The law of Marathon is do whatever you can do to survive and bring gear back. And they've been pretty clear with that. So I think the good thing about that is, unfortunately, I think Arc Raiders community, it just feels like it's ripping itself apart with two sides, with people that just want PvE and people who just want PvP, or people that think PvP is a necessary component of it. Whereas I think Marathon and Bungie specifically have been very clear that, like, this is a PvP game. I think that helps set expectations for the genre. All right, a like and a comment would be greatly appreciated. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.